Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for coming to another AdvocateHub class. Today we have an extra special AdvocateHub class. Normally it would be one of the support magicians, such as myself, Don, hosting the class, but as you can hear, we have some special people from the marketing team. They're going to talk to us about the matrimony of content and advocate marketing. So this time we wanted to bring some more subject matter experts to help you out. And to begin, we have Cassandra, who is a content marketer here at Influitive.
Hello.
Thanks for coming, Cassandra. And we have Truman, an advocate marketer, as well as the Influitive VIP administrator. You would hear him or see him quite often.
Buongiorno.
All right, so as I said, in this class, Truman and Cassandra are going to be hosting, talking to you, and I'll give it over to them. And at the end, we'll have a question period, so during the class, feel free to enter your questions into the chat, and we'll try to address them at the end. So, Cassandra, take it away.
Thanks, Don. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Truman and I are super excited to be, hosting this AdvocateHub class. We're lucky that the support team lets us come on and talk to all of you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Don.
I just want to clear up one thing really quickly, though, just so we're not starting any rumors or office gossip. Truman and I are actually not getting married, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, hashtag rumor.
Sorry if that was disappointing. I know you were all looking forward to attending that wedding, but we are going to talk about the matrimony between content and advocate marketing, which just so happens to be two areas of marketing that Truman and I specialize in. So we hope that you can walk away from this AdvocateHub class with some really actionable ideas, things that you can go back to your team with. Whether it's a content marketer or just another marketing specialist on your team who just wants over content with some great ideas in terms of how you can help them generate more content, higher value content, and also sort of keep your advocates in the loop, keep them feeling involved and recognized all along the way. So yeah, anything else you want to say before we get started, Truman?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up. I know that we have quite a few people on this call, but I see a lot of familiar names and a lot of really long legacy customers of ours, like Mike. So happy to see you on this call. Jason, you came in last week. Just there's too many to name, but I want to thank you guys all for taking your time and just listening to what we have to say. And we hope you get a lot of good insight. And yeah, definitely feel free to just shoot off any question in the question and answer section of the webinar, so that we could later on pick at it and give you what you need to jumpstart your content and advocacy efforts.
Absolutely. Feel free to ask questions anytime, and we'll address them at the end. So, the reason why we wanted to chat with all of you about this today is because, creating great content is hard. Research from the Content Marketing Institute shows that, about half of B2B marketers and B2C marketers alike identify producing engaging content as one of their top challenges. It's very expensive. It takes, on average, anywhere from 4 to 5 hours to complete a blog post, which is more than most executives probably imagine when they say, like, oh, just write a blog post about this. And also, it's really hard to keep coming up with great ideas day in and day out. We're really lucky that we get to write about marketing, but, if you're dealing with insurance or, security issues or whatever, and that's not an area that you're passionate about, then it might be really challenging to come up with ideas all the time. So your advocates can be a great source of those ideas, but we'll get into that in a minute. I just wanted to sort of lay the groundwork for why we're talking about this, and whether you're responsible for content yourself or it's someone else in your team, I'm sure you can empathize with the fact that content can be hard. And then also, if you've already invested in Influitive, you probably know that your potential customers, those buyers, don't really trust your content. They're a little bit skeptical of marketers and salespeople, but they do trust recommendations from people they know. And I won't spend too much time here because I know that all of you know this already. You're super experts in trust in the buying process. And you probably also know that advocates are your biggest fans. Your advocates can include customers, partners, employees, influencers, and other stakeholders who make non-monetary investments in your company. So today we'll mostly be talking about customers, but there are many other types of advocates who can play a big role in your content, and you can probably adapt many of these strategies to get them involved in your content as well. So I'm going to sort of pose a rhetorical question here, but I hope that you actually think about it, and maybe you can take this back to your colleagues on your marketing team and just ask yourselves, how much of your content marketing currently features your advocates? And when I say content marketing, I mean your case studies, your blog posts, ebooks, videos, webinars, even your infographics and more sort of serious white papers and things like that. When you look through all of your content, is it just you talking, or are there other voices in the mix who look like your customers, whether it's actually their face in there, or just quotes, or anonymized case studies? How much are you getting them involved in the process and the end product? Always a great question to ask yourself, and since I'm asking the question, I'm going to actually tell you how much of our content involves advocates. So many of you have gotten involved in our content in the past, and I want to thank you so much for that. And if you haven't been featured yet, I really want to feature you in the future. We'll talk more about that next. But we kind of ran the numbers, and over looking at all of our content historically, a little over half of our ebook content, and we're going sort of page by page here actually, features our advocates. A little over a third of our blog posts are featuring our advocates. Videos, almost all of our videos are featuring our advocates, and then social media posts, we actually have a quota that we like to meet along the way. So we aim to feature our advocates in about 30% of our social media posts, which is easier than you might think. If you've written a review for us on Trust Radius, YouTube Crowd, App Exchange, we can just post a quick thank you with a link to your review. We might post a picture or an insight that you shared in an ebook. So those are all really easy ways to get involved, to get advocates featured in your content along the way. Next up, this is just a fun slide. So this is one of our series at Influitive. Advocates plus content equals magic. And the magic usually means higher conversions, people trust your content more, all that kind of stuff. So I think Truman's going to walk through a few examples from some of our other customers, and then we'll dive back into some of the other ways that we're getting advocates involved in our content every day here at Influitive. So I will pass it on to Truman for just a few of the ways that advocates can kind of boost your content marketing results along the content creation process.
Yeah. So, hey, thanks, Cassandra. So, we just pointed out the top 6 that really resonate for us, and don't feel like you have to do this all yourself. It is, a key part in your team's overall strategy. If it is content, then yeah, definitely work with your content team to see what bigger ideas you can kind of draw upon, and then ask your end advocates like how they can contribute. But yeah, some of the things that we've identified that advocates can help boost our content marketing is, just essentially brainstorming the key ideas for content. We know that sometimes we could run dry of ideas, but hey, we have a lot of brilliant minds in our hub, as well as our customer base, so why not ask them? And at the end of the day, being a customer marketer and being in content, you definitely do want to showcase all the great stuff that's happening with your customers. So collecting customer stories is extremely vital, for your company's brand and your company's end product reviews and story. But don't limit that to only just your content. Feel free to reach out to your customer success team as well. But something to definitely consider that collecting those success stories doesn't have to happen always on a company level. You can actually really highlight and profile a key customer on an individual level, and that's actually more impactful because in your marketing efforts, people relate to people and maybe not as much just to a logo or a big overarching company. And that kind of blends itself into number 3, which is featuring your advocates as thought leaders. And it's extremely powerful because if you want to involve your advocates in content, you want to give them opportunities to really shine and have that ability to really give back to them. And a piece of that is always showcasing them as experts in their field and really highlighting their profile. And after you've kind of already done that, being an advocate also has its perks. And what we have identified is, giving advocates early access to any type of content really has its benefits. It's almost like another way to spot check exactly what you're doing to make sure that whatever you're releasing is going to resonate within the marketplace. But it also gives your advocates a chance to kind of be on the in, to let them know that, hey, you want them to see it first view before the bigger market does. So it's almost like an inside club type of thing. And that relates to number 5, which is getting that feedback and actually acting on it. And I'll show you some examples on what we've done to reinforce that point, and how you guys have actually helped us create an even better product before we hit the marketplace with that. And along with that buy-in and that feedback and having your advocates as a part of the content creation process, it's just a distribution network. Like, it's so powerful to have people bought into it and then leverage their networks to promote it. And it's actually not a sneaky way to, at the end of the day, get more social shares, but it's a way to kind of have everybody collectively come together to feel, to have everybody contribute to one big idea, and then to proudly share it amongst their network to really get a message across on behalf of the company that you advocate for. So enough jibber jabber from me. I'll go right into the case study little example stories. So the first one being, Bo is one of our advocates. You may have seen her from BAM TV or one of her other case studies. But essentially, Bo, she is heading up their marketing department and is always trying to have more topics for the webinar series. And what she does is that she basically just asks her advocates, like, hey, what do you want to hear about? Because, we could develop a laundry list of things to talk about. But at the end of the day, if that's not what you want to hear, let's ask what you want to hear about so it's more relevant. So because of her efforts and asking about their preferred webinar topics, she's been able to generate, more people to attend her webinars, and actually use it as a way to create opportunities and as a way to, create a lead gen area for her marketing function. So yeah, it's great that you can basically, showcase best practices for your customers. But hey, on a broader level, let's talk about webinars as a whole. How can we use that as a way to generate pipeline? And, all of us being in marketing, even if we're customer facing or, even in marketing operations, like, we got to think about, hey, how do we, bring new leads into our funnel and, get people to our product? And this is just another way where advocates can help, where they can, contribute their knowledge to help us make a better webinar, to make it more tantalizing and have prospects check it out. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think, especially when you're a marketer, you can really kind of just get stuck in this little bubble of the world of your company, and you have your marketing plan, and you pretty much stick within them. And so you might be missing out on topics or ideas that don't fit within that, but would be really appealing to lots of people. And so, if your advocates are interested in these topics, then chances are people like them are also going to be interested in it, and it'll appeal to a much broader audience. And, not saying you should totally scrap all of your plans for the year just because, an advocate's a good idea, but usually you can make it work and incorporate those into your future plans if they're kind of evergreen ideas.
Yes, exactly. I'm just nodding my head in agreement on that. So the next up is Liz Pedro. So some of you may have seen Liz in VIP as one of our top point earners. And Liz also runs her own program, Mindful Champions, and how she uses her hubs as a way to basically, collect, customer success stories. So she works a lot, with her customer success team and marketing team to basically source content. And yeah, she uses her hub to basically offer a chance for people to submit their own stories in. So rather than always maybe hounding your customer success team about, hey, what stories can we surface? She basically offers it to the advocates so they can elect themselves and get bought into sharing what they've been doing. And that could happen on equally from a customer, partner, or employee standpoint. And that's the thing. Like, half the time we don't even bother asking. We're trying to figure out, brainstorm ideas on our own end. But why not just pitch it towards your advocates and have them kind of feed you the ideas, and then eventually something will stick. You work together on it, and that creates even more compelling content. And speaking of compelling content, so Chris Peltz, he's from HP, and he had this idea where he wanted to essentially create powerful, actionable tips, but he wanted to bundle it up in a way that he can distribute to the overall customer base. And the thing is that he was mainly concerned with just how fast he can turn it around and how tangible or actionable the tips were. So for him, he was like, you know what, let's ask our advocates to help with this exercise. And from what I remember, because Cassandra actually worked on their case study very, very closely. From what I remember, Cassandra, it was like they cut their turnaround time in like by a third, and they were able to really surface a lot of content in an effective manner. And
it was super fast, yeah. I mean, usually when you're writing an ebook, you have to, write an outline, and then either you write it or one of your writers actually pens the copy. You go through like so many revisions and making sure the messaging is right. But HP kind of kept it simple. They literally just wrote a short introduction and then let their advocates lead the way. So each page is dedicated to a tip from one of their ITSM insiders, and these are IT professionals who are actually in the field, providing actionable insights for their peers. And they ended up, they have some great stock photography there, kind of illustrating with this whole mountain climbing theme. But overall, they really didn't have to actually write that much, and it's this hugely valuable asset that they can kind of continue leveraging both within their customer base and beyond as a lead gen tool. And then also they're featuring their advocates as thought leaders in a really amazing way. Their little pictures are in there with their name, job title, and company. So they're really featured as sort of the experts in IT service management, which is really cool.
Yeah, and if you're interested, we actually have a thread of their case study in the VIP community right now. So you can probably, jump in the community, type in just like HP ITSM or search for Chris Peltz. And it's an essential rundown on how exactly he did it and also the end result. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to leave a comment in the community or just let us know and we can, send you the link to that a little later on. So we just presented to you just a few things that our customers have done, and obviously, we want to show you exactly what we've done to, as Influitive to really, propel this whole like harmony between content and affiliate marketing. So again, as we always say, Cassandra is actually, she's the head of our content strategy. So what she'll do is she'll kind of figure out what the themes are, and then once she nails down a theme, I'll work together with her to kind of figure out how can we get smart people like you guys to get in on it and share your thoughts and become that piece of content that will forever last and that you could highlight in your next Oscar win or whatever trophy that you may be winning. So here's an example of something that we've done with, in partnership with Gainsight, which is essentially like we wanted to basically get your thoughts on specific customer success topics to really put together and bundle in a how does marketing and customer success fit together. And as you can see, like what we want to do is frame exactly what the ask was, and then go into really short, snappy questions where you can where it doesn't take a lot of time to answer. And then finally, after you've given us all of your input and some extra color around it, we'll then ask you if it's at all possible if we can basically if we have permission to publish your comments, because we do understand that some companies may be more sensitive to thought leadership posts versus others. So we want to cover our own basis by basically highlighting like, okay, if we're allowed to basically mention their name, or do we have to anonymize it? Anonymize? Yeah, that's a word. Okay, sure.
You can make up any word you want.
You're right. Content and affiliate marketing working together. So the next slide here, because of what that asked in VIP, we were able to basically produce this sweet looking piece called Customer Success and Marketing Alignment. And that's the cover on the left, and basically the piece and how it looks like on the right. And again, the reason why we do it is because we're not trying to be cut corners and trying to get content faster, but we really feel that it's valuable to have your guys' voice in it, because again, it provides more like a third-party opinion on it, and it provides more authenticity towards the comment that we're trying to produce. And there's only so much smartness that happens within our group that we really need an outside perspective in how the market is approaching a particular subject matter. And so with your help, that's what we were able to do. We were able to provide some fairly good viewpoints and objective insight into this type of topic.
I have a fun fact about this piece of content.
Oh yeah? Do tell.
So this is the first time ever that we had a challenge in Influitive VIP and Gainsight's advocate marketing program at the same time asking the same question. So we wanted to get both perspectives, and Gainsight is a customer of ours, and we're a customer of theirs, and we're a partner. So I teamed up with their marketing team to get a challenge in their hub. And so we were asking most of our customers are marketers, although I know some of you are customer success professionals as well, but Gainsight mostly reaches customers customer success folks. So we wanted both sides of the coin responding to similar questions so we could get both perspectives in the ebook, and it worked out really well. We got great responses on both sides. So yeah, it was the first time ever that we had challenges in 2 hubs simultaneously. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, there we have it. There we have it, taking over the world. And the next one we wanted to highlight was sometimes I understand that the subject matters might be, really in depth, and we don't want to exhaust our advocates by basically asking them, on a continuous basis, like, please fill out this field, please fill this out, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes what you want to do is you want to frame a question and basically follow up them with a call thereafter, and then you can kind of get really in depth and detail about what particular nuggets that you want to pull to make the advocate look good and also to produce like the best viewpoint from their advocate side. So with this challenge, a while back, last November, we wanted to produce this very aspirational piece called Rise of the Customer Marketer. And at the time, we were just preliminary doing our research, but because of your guys' input, we were basically able to produce, in this next slide, the Rise of the Customer Marketer. And Cassandra did an amazing job on this. Like from start to finish, she basically had this vision of, the customer marketer is this next evolution of where marketing is going, and we needed some valuable people with some really good insight to justify why this is the next phase in marketing. And honestly, like it was because of you guys, and I think that this piece was 50% or maybe 60% sourced by Advocates itself.
Absolutely. And I had over 20 calls with our advocates based on that challenge, and I interviewed them really in depth on, what customer marketing is, where they think it's going, what they wish they had in terms of resources as a customer marketer, because we wanted to kind of create a definitive guide for customer marketers and where that field is going. So it was really amazing to sort of get to know them all a little bit better. And as a content marketer, you don't get a chance to interact with customers that much. So this kind of partnership between content and advocate marketing gives that opportunity and allows you to inform your content with the perspectives of your customers and potential customers much better, because you're actually, even if you're not putting their direct words, which you should, getting their perspectives and understanding what they care about is so important just for your overall content strategy, not just for piece by piece, but it really helps me understand our customers better and produce better content overall for you guys.
Yeah, and on a side note, I love working with Cassandra on content pieces because it gives me a very good excuse to connect with each one of you to actually understand where your thought process is at, and just kind of understand also what insights that you may have towards the marketing field in general, or even customer success, or even sales. And it's a really good piece to know that when a customer comes or an advocate raises their hand to want to contribute to content, it's a really good touch point to basically be able to reach out to have an excuse to connect. I know that many of us probably live in the hub for a little bit, and we do the messaging once in a while, but I say that the best part of my job is actually having chances to talk to each one of you about your viewpoints and understand what's next in marketing and how do we both get there together. So this was an awesome piece that I especially like because obviously a little biased, right, on customer marketers. But the fact of the matter is that I was maybe 8 or 9 months in my job, and the people that contribute to it, like Carlos from Ceridian, I was able to really connect with him and to pick his brain about it. It allowed me to know him as an individual. So I highly encourage you guys, whether it's in-depth interviews or just 5-minute phone calls, it's a really good chance to start that conversation and get really good content going. So excuse the header, I think there was some formatting hiccups. But that aside, we did mention that after you get the content workflow kind of going, the next piece is kind of giving early access and gathering feedback before you release to the public. And we've done that on a few occasions with our bigger assets like our ebooks, and one of them was our Influitive Expose campaign. And I worked a lot with Cassandra on it, just trying to nail down what the theme is. Should we really be having naked people, and if we did, how can we artfully do it without offending anybody? And at the end of the day, we kind of asked ourselves, let's just throw a few suggestions out and see what you guys have to say. And in the end, we produced this fairly, I would say, PG-rated book on how we run our business, how we run our advocate program. And it was really good to have your guys' opinion on it, simply because, you know, it was a sanity spot check. And as you can see from the bottom 2 quotes, like there was a little bit of affirmation on some things, and, you know, there were some things that we did have to change on the back. But overall, it's always good to have your advocate spot check, and it also creates that buy-in, because later on, and I'll get to the next slide, you know, when we do finalize the product and distribute, you guys are key in helping us get the content out there in an authentic way. And an example that we wanted to bring in, because, you know, we love showcasing you guys, is Hootsuite. And basically, they put together something very similar, which is their Hootsuite Ambassador Yearbook. And, you know, there was no naked theme in this one. It was mainly just like, hey, let's everybody contribute towards, you know, an Ambassador Yearbook by basically submitting, like, you know, pictures and comments about our program. And in the end, after crowdsourcing, you know, basically all these things, and what was really cool is they used a Google presentation or a Google Doc that everybody could literally, like, get in there, create a new page, and just throw stuff on the page. It literally just, like, you know, there's no work on the admin's time besides spot checking and making sure that, you know, people were, you know, properly filling it out. And
like, it was messy at first. Like, I went and took a peek at it as it was being developed, and it didn't look pretty right off the bat. But the point wasn't to get designers in there; it was just to get the pictures and quotes and you know, getting the advocates involved. And then once they kind of gathered it all, they brought it back to their designer and had it, you know, laid out really nicely. But, you know, advocates actually put the content in a Google presentation, which was really cool.
Yeah. So, you know, we're testing a little bit of that right now. And we'll talk about it in a few, but as you can tell just from the statistics, like, you know, they amassed like 57 solid pages of this yearbook. Then they uploaded it, and, you know, within the last like 6 months, like, you know, over 16,000 views and over 700 shares. Like, that's powerful. Like, if you know, an authentic voice, having your advocates share the content, like, what more could you ask for? Like, no advertising network could provide that level of authenticity other than your advocates. And along with that, they were able to actually get more recruited ambassadors, and that was hitting at least 200.
Yeah, I think because, like, all of their ambassadors shared it, and it was all about their experience in the Hootsuite Ambassador program. You know, all of their peers, colleagues saw it on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and thought, I want to be part of this program. It looks so cool. So they got to recruit, you know, 200 new advocates, you know, in addition to the, you know, the hundreds that they already had. But that's an amazing sort of uptick in advocates just based on one piece of content.
Yeah, definitely. So in regards to just like the, you know, being objective and being authentic, you know, what does that really mean? Well, we actually did an experiment within Influitive on one piece of content, and we basically had 3 mediums in which we distributed this piece. One was obviously, you know, through email, right? Fairly low cost, you know, it's fairly easy. Another one was we actually bought online ads, and another piece was finally, hey, if we can use VIP to distribute it, let's see what happens. And what we found out was it actually performed way better than email and online ads in terms of click-through rates. You know, 2 times more than email, and 6 times more than online ads. And that's just a testament to how important having your advocates in a distribution process is, and it goes the extra mile to providing that authentic voice. And you know, it's something to really consider. Like, it doesn't mean that you should, you know, have everything in your own program, which actually, well, it'd be awesome if you could. But yeah, you still have to rely on email and online ads. But I think that when you go to the table in your marketing meetings and start talking about, you know, the most effective ways of marketing, like, definitely start thinking about how do I use my own program, use like tracking links, and then working with my operations and demand gen team to figure out what the best channel is. Because eventually, like, if you can win over demand gen and marketing ops, like, your program, you're going to look like an even bigger star than you already are. And what better way than to have your advocates, you know, help you get there?
Absolutely. I think the moral of the story of this whole class is just, you know, as an advocate marketer, it's super important to partner up with all the other members of your marketing team, your customer success team, like anywhere that you can find advocates, content, resources, channels to distribute and kind of prove the value and you know, sort of be a bigger voice at that table. It's super important. I think, you know, we take for granted here in Influitive that obviously we're a very advocacy-first company, and we're also a very content-first company. But we know not everyone is in that enviable position. mission. So, it's a great way to kind of just generate stronger partnerships with the rest of your team and your colleagues at your company, and even outside of your company as well. So we're almost done. We just have a couple more things to show you, and then we're happy to take your questions. So feel free to start typing in your questions now if you have them, and we'll get some more slides.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of which, in terms of content, I always encourage you guys, even if you are super busy and you can't do any challenges, no problem. But once in a while, pop into VIP so you can get a sense of like what other things you can draw from to put in your program. Like I know you guys are all busy managing like so many of the projects, wearing so many hats. But I just wanted to highlight that some of the things that we're doing inside VIP is our content marketing specialist, Jillian. She's actually right now developing a plan to help showcase your guys' thought leadership. So for 200 good points, if you would like to be featured on our blog, jump into VIP, find that challenge, and just kind of like just finish the challenge and basically suggest a topic. Our next thing is actually what we're trying to do is we're trying to help other companies figure out how to source the best customer marketer or advocate marketer. So we're trying this really cool thing where we're taking a page from Hootsuite and we're trying to crowdsource the best job description of an advocate marketer. And yeah, quite literally just check out what the challenge is like, see how we formatted it. Maybe it's something that you can do yourself. But yeah, we linked it into a Google Doc and you basically add your couple of cents. And we'd be really appreciative so that we can build the ultimate job description for an advocate marketer. And our last two things that we do want to mention is we're really thinking about our next couple of campaigns, and we would definitely love your opinions on them. And Cassandra right now is trying to figure out. Oh, by the way, thanks for the voting for the title on our next campaign.
Good choice.
Yeah, good choice. Next Gen CMO won out, thanks to you guys, and we're sticking with it. Along those lines, we're trying to figure out, basically what are the main concerns of your CMO or VP of marketing. What do they care about? Basically, what drives them, so we can kind of figure out what is this next gen CMO and where's this role going. Cassandra, I probably missed out on a few points, didn't I? Do you want to ask the color?
So we're gathering ideas, but we're also looking for current and future marketing leaders to feature. So we're just starting out by asking you if your CMO or VP of marketing might want to be featured. But also, if you consider yourself to be a future CMO, that's kind of where you see your career going. Then we also want to talk to you about that because we really think that customer and advocate marketers are kind of the future marketing leaders with the way everything's going in terms of customer experience and customer engagement right now. So we're going to be having blog posts, ebooks, webinars, even community AMAs where we might just grab an hour of your time to go and answer your fellow advocate marketers' questions in VIP communities. So there are lots of different ways to get involved. And for now, we're just trying to understand what do CMOs and VPs of marketing care about at your companies, and then who might want to get involved in this campaign over the next 6 months, basically.
You got it. Like a boss. Okay, and then last two things. One fun thing is pop in the community. Cassandra started this really cool thread about her favorite podcasts. Yeah, we want to hear about your favorite podcast because I'm aching to hear, get some fresh stuff on my iPhone, and it'd be really cool if we can share ideas on how you guys, keep up to speed on all marketing related stuff. And then
we're not just curious about it. I want to write a blog post about it too.
Oh yeah, that's
just bring it back to this whole.
Bring it back to the whole content thing. You're right, you got it. And then shameless plug here, we do have an auction house in VIP right now. So if you're interested in how to basically win a skydiving experience, just pop into VIP and check out the auction house challenge. But other than that, I think we still have some time for questions if anybody has any. And again, if you have any questions, just field it in the chat on the lower left, and we'll kind of go at it that way. But it looks like we do have a few questions coming in, and one of them being, so someone's asking, what is the exact workflow for how to produce the content from end to end? So, Cassandra, maybe I'll just start, and you can kind of add color into it. Okay, so I know that we went through a few examples, and what we did best was to try to go through those steps. But just to reiterate, I think the whole thing starts with just what is your, connecting with your content team to figure out what their content strategy is, and maybe if they don't have any ideas, asking your advocates right off the bat, and then after that, scheduling what they want to talk about to what your calendar is. And it really, in my opinion, it really does start with working with content to figure out what things need to be created. And then once you kind of figure that out, you then take what they want and then field it into your program, and then give it about 1 to 3 weeks to kind of let it out in the marketplace for people to pick up on it. And I really position it and really think hard about what is the value for your end advocate, because yeah, sure, they'll get points, they'll get badges, but the biggest thing is that, like, with their authentic voice, you want to make them look good. So when you do pitch a content piece, do reinforce the fact that you are trying to level up their profile. And then once you get that content and those answers back, typically I'd either have Cassandra pop in just to kind of get the answers, or myself for the answers to Cassandra. And depending on how heavy the content is, you may want to follow up with a call. And if not a call, then basically like an email saying like, hey, we got your answers. We're going to basically word it this way, and then write up a rough draft, and we'll send that rough draft around after. And once you basically close that feedback loop, have the content team start working on it. And when there's a rough draft, basically it's just the matter of back and forth, getting the design done. And after you have a semi-final product, fielding that out as a test market to your existing advocates. And yeah, after they give you their opinions on it, finalizing everything, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, getting your content markers like, A-OK-ness, and then having your advocates for help distribute before you send it off to the marketplace as a whole. That's the workflow that I've been kind of running under, but Cassandra, did I miss anything, or?
I mean, that's definitely the advocate involved side of the workflow. Like, we don't need to get into the nitty gritty of like how an entire ebook is made. I think some of the things you could do is, getting your advocates to vote on the title, or, if you're working with a designer or an agency on the artwork, you could, if you have a few different options, you could even let them vote on that, which I think is something that we're going to start doing a bit more of. Do you like option A or option B, or which title do you like, which is what we did with our Next Gen CMO campaign. We brainstormed a bunch of ideas in terms of what we should call this CMO-focused campaign, and we, fielded a challenge to you guys, and overwhelmingly, I think about 40% of people voted for Next Gen CMO, and like the runner-up was only, 20-something%. So it was pretty clear what the winner was, and that one was one of my favorites too. So I'm glad that it worked out that way. Sometimes you have a gut feeling, and you don't really know where it's going to go, but usually your advocates can kind of solidify that for you. And yeah, I mean, I think that just open communication all along the way is super important. Things do fall through the cracks sometimes, or the timelines take a bit longer than normal, but it's good just to keep an open line of communication. And I think it's also super important just to let them know, especially if you are in a security conscious industry or a privacy conscious industry, that you won't publish anything without their permission. Some people just don't care about that, and that's amazing. But others are very particular about PR processes, getting PR or legal or corporate communications to approve anything before it goes out. So just make sure you factor that into your timelines, and make sure your content marketer is aware that your advocates are real people with responsibilities at their jobs, and it may take a bit longer than a normal ebook without advocates, just because there are many more variables involved. Yeah,
definitely, for sure. We also have another question coming in terms of getting buy-in from the content team. And instead of me, because I tend to blabber a lot. So for you, Cassandra, how did you realize that the hub would help you a lot in your current position, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably hard for me to say this authentically just because I work at Influitive, but even just, I network with a lot of other content marketers, and I know that most of them are not getting their customers involved in their content, and, they're kind of in their own bubble, and they're like I said at the beginning, they're really struggling to come up with ideas. So, if you're ever chatting with your content marketers, you're like, hey, what are you working on? What kind of ideas do you have? Dig in a little bit, try to find out what their pain points are, kind of be a bit of a salesperson and dig in there, uncover what their main challenges are, and see if you can help in some way, or suggest that your advocates can help generate ideas or fill those pages or vote. If your marketing team is really debating between A and B, and you can't come to any kind of consensus, then that's probably a good time to field your advocate's opinions just to see what they say. So yeah, I would say just try to figure out what they're struggling with and have your advocates be the solution whenever possible. And it could even be internal stuff too. So don't forget about things like testimonials and video, webinars, all that kind of stuff, like even for just like company newsletters or anything like that. It's really easy and quick to gather feedback, and often your advocates love giving that stuff. So just kind of say that you're getting the customer's voice in there. That's usually a great way to go.
Yeah, and I personally like as some advice is like don't even bother waiting sometimes. Like I get it, like the content team, they're busy, they're trying to churn out as much stuff as they can to get leads. But I think that we could really be heroes when basically you don't even have to ask them what they want. Just essentially have your advocates raise their hand and say that they're willing to contribute to content. And in your next marketing meeting, with that one simple challenge, you get 20 or 30 people. Just telling that to your team, it'll open their eyes to know, wow, there's another 20 or 30 people willing to help us with content. So you already provide that value back. And I'd probably do that rather earlier rather than sooner. Wait, no. Yeah, or sooner rather than later. Yes, sooner rather than later. I was just stuck in between a thought. But I'd do that sooner rather than later simply because I understand when you run your hub right now, sometimes it might take a little bit of time to think of challenges. But the sooner you can get your content team in there, man, the way that you run your hub will be revolutionized, because the way I put challenges in, I always try to have my fully 3 challenges in there. But without Cassandra, I'm probably not able to put as much interesting challenges for you guys to really dive into and for you to really feel like you're helping contribute to our business. So something like, even helping us with our title, something so little, but it's such a huge impact on how we go to market, makes a huge difference. So I'd say rather than waiting, just try a few things out that are small, even hand raises. That'll help you a lot in getting buy-in. Okay, so yeah, I think other than that, we're at the 4:45 mark, and we don't have any questions other than that. But hey, that doesn't mean we have to stop the conversation here. We have our Twitter handles. We're on the Twitterverse. But hey, if you want to email us directly, you can email Cassandra at cassandra@influitive.com, or myself, or you can ping me through VIP or all that fun stuff. But yeah, anything that you need answered with, if you want us to go more in depth on how to do things, give us a shout.
Also, if you have a content marketer in your team that you're trying to get buy-in, to get more involved in your advocate marketing program, I'm happy to jump on the phone with them and just share some of these different ideas, or maybe you could share this broadcast with them to kind of help them understand how they can get advocates more involved in the content. But I'm happy to chat with any of them. I love networking with other content marketers. I'd love to meet your colleagues in content anytime.
Okay, Don, I think
great.
That's it.
Thank you. Yeah, on that note, this video will be available tomorrow on YouTube and in VIP as well, so you can share it with your team, as Cassandra mentioned. And yeah, any questions, just shoot us those questions after, and we'll post the community topic as well. And thanks a lot for attending or for hosting, Truman and Cassandra, and everybody, thanks for coming, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks for the next AdvocateHub class.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, guys, for spending time with us.
Thank you.